to a community, we reach out to another community group there that's going through something similar. This is not, like Rebecca said, this is not just about St. Louis. You could pick this film up, and there are places here in New York, in you guys' own backyard, that you could set this film on top of. There are other just moms. There are other fire chiefs that are dealing with these sites.
Right, there's over 1,300 Superfund sites in the United States.
So I think to admit the mistake at one, what we are finding is that this is the same mistakes that are made at all sites. We are not alone in that. Ours just happens to be unique and very critical because of what's happening. And so I think that they're afraid that if they come in and admit it at one site, that we're going to go and help other communities, and they goddamn better be, because that's exactly what we're going to do. You know, because, yeah, you make a mistake at one, you make a mistake at others.
I think it has a lot to do with elections.
Yeah.
If we really take a look at what's happening, most of the leadership in this area around the country, and beginning to happen, even when you went to Kansas City, they hadn't even started yet it was a terrible situation. And gradually, we're beginning to see that mothers are trying to protect their children, other people within the society, but they're not really being listened to. And nobody's being listened to, if you really want to get down to it, unless we begin to face that we have, through elections, we're going to have to get people in who understand what this is, and we, as individuals, have to teach them what it is. If we can teach them, if this film can go out there and teach people what this is about, that we can go to each state and show them, which we've begun to do, and show them what's really happening. These people aren't even finding out that in their homes, or the homes they bought, they're contaminated. They didn't even know that. Yeah. Nobody's protected them even that way. And you know, I'm going to say something about this, because if we look at our Senate and we look at our Congress, our House of Reps, we'll see that there's very few women in it. And since women have been the leadership historically in saving their families and trying to solve problems like what these people are doing, the election is going to help them. And it's going to begin to move them up in the ladder where they will be listened to. Now you might say, well, they weren't listened to by the woman who's at one particular agency there. Maybe that's true, but the pressure has to be to make that happen. And it's going to be all of us to do it. Because I have to tell you something, there's something terribly dangerous about all this. If none of us know what's going to happen when that fire hits, or none of us know what's going to happen in San Diego when they're burying nuclear waste in water, and nobody knows any of these things, but what just happened in New York, something awful is going to happen, not just here, but almost every other place. So that's what my goal, and I think Rebecca's obviously as well, is to get out there and let people know the voting machine is going to solve this. We'll at least help to get it solved. They have to be listened to, because they know something that nobody's willing to hear. And that's a real important aspect.
I completely agree with that. Just to reiterate, if it can happen in a community of Bridgeton, which is a small suburban area of St. Louis, which is not a very large city, if it can happen there, it can happen anywhere. You know,
it's happening, yeah.
And it is happening in many other places. And like I said, 1,300 Superfund sites across the country. And that's just the ones that have been identified and listed as a Superfund site.
Right. And
There's so many more that aren't.
But there are 517 legacy radioactive waste sites that the Wall Street Journal has identified. That isn't necessarily connected to the Superfunds.
No, they're their own little pocket of hell.
Yeah.
Another burning question. We have time for one or two quick ones. Yes.
Are people still buying homes in these neighborhoods? Like, to what extent is there more public awareness that this is a problem in St. Louis and in Missouri? Because I imagine if everyone in Missouri knows about this, they'd be calling their elected officials. Like, is that happening? Is there a way to get that level of outrage?
Don't forget, it's a secret.
That's right.
It should be called the secret fund site.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Did you know?
I had a retired firefighter call me probably less than a month ago, and it knew I was involved with the Westlake landfill and everything else, and he called me and he said, "Hey, I don't know you, but I know you. I was told to contact you, and I'm looking at a property in Spanish Village, and it is a heck of a deal. I mean, it is." And he said, "I'm calling you because so-and-so said you know what's going on with the landfill and everything else. I'm thinking about buying that." And I had to be honest with him. It was hard for me because when I tell people not to buy in my fire protection district, it actually lowers our taxes. It lowers our ability to be able to help the people that need it. And I told him, I said, if you're asking me if I personally would buy that property, I would walk away right now. And that was the hardest thing for me to say because I love my community. I love the people that live in my community, and to tell somebody, don't move into the Pattonville Fire District, especially in that subdivision, it tore me apart, you know, but I had to be honest with them. If you're asking me personally, what would you do? There's no way in HELL, like Robin would say, there's no way that I would purchase that property.
Well, that's funny that you would ask that question. Funny as in ironic, because there's nothing humorous about this. Because people work hard for their money, and they need to know where the hell they're buying. And the city of Bridgeton wants you to think that they're on top of this, but they're on top of it for their own benefit, not for the residents' benefit. So I've got 2 houses right across the street from me, one for rent, one for sale. And I get my butt out there every dang time I can, that I see somebody up there looking for a house, coming there to look at that house. Hey, hi, are you coming here to look at the house? Oh yeah, yes we are. Do you know about the burning radioactive Superfund site that's right down the hill? And they look at me like, and I said, haven't you seen all of the news reports and this, that through the years? No. They didn't. Just like my husband and I didn't. Just like many people don't. You know why? Because we have a life. We have a life we want to live. We have a life with children. We have a life that we can't sit on our asses and watch TV all damn day long. I can now because I'm retired. But when I was younger and I had a family, our lives were taken up with work and our families. Who would have thought that somebody would dump this kind of crap on you and tell you it's okay? Don't worry about it. Go on with your life. That is a bunch of baloney. It's worse than that. It's a bunch of shit as far as I'm concerned. So yes, homes are still being sold. Homes are still being rented. I can't do the whole doggone neighborhood, even though it's 91 homes, but I can't see what's going on the other streets. But I have some people message me, Robin, somebody's looking at this house. Robin, this house just went up for sale. Robin, even though I'm the a-hole of the neighborhood, because I had my house contaminated and I got it tested to prove something, it still wasn't enough to get people off their arses. What's it going to take? Do we have to be laying on the street, foaming at the mouth? No, because this stuff doesn't work like that. It takes one molecule. Whether you're digging in the soil or it's above your basement windows, like it is at my house. That's why I said when we heavily landscaped our yard, God knows how many times we inhaled. If we inhaled any of it, and if we did, well, we're beyond childbearing years, thank God for that. So we're not going to be passing it on to another generation. But my son lived in our basement. So God knows what he did when he was smoking his Mary Jane out the basement window so Mom and Dad couldn't smell what was going on. I mean, life happens, okay? And that's how my life has been. So yes, people are still buying homes, people are still selling homes, and they don't give a shoot about it. They're going to try to make whatever money they can while they can. And I don't want to degrade our neighborhood or bring our property values down. With full knowledge, people can make an informed decision. With full knowledge, people can work together with the EPA to come up with viable solutions instead of sweeping this crap under the rug and thinking everything is just fine. Go ahead and live with your lives until somebody comes up sick.
Think about that EPA. They're trying to get rid of the EPA, and it is a key to this.
Yes,
Yet
strangely
they're not
enough,
gonna be here.
yes. Yes.
So here we go again.
Yes.
We need people to vote and get people in there to stop this from happening. And we can. You know, you mentioned 91 homes. But at that fire meeting, they weren't just preparing for 91 meetings. They were saying, what happened if it hit 300,000? We don't know what's going to happen when that fire moves from here to here. We don't know what's going to happen when we find we have a meeting. It starts off with the small meetings, which we started the film with, and then suddenly it became more and more people, and none of them seemed to know about this. We even had somebody on our crew that didn't even know about it. That's how shocking this is. Now, how many places in the United States is like that? Well, guess what? A lot.
Many.
I think we should all agree to have like Robin run for representative.
President!
Yeah. So let's agree to do that and have one more question. Who's got it?
Well, it sounds
Yes.
like a human rights issue. Maybe while you're here, you can stop by the UN
We have actually been to the UN, 2016.
Sure.
We took our issue to the United Nations. They want to help us. We actually have a couple of the people that we spoke with there that will be at the film showing on Friday. So, and we've been working with the United Nations in St. Louis as well, and they are also coming out to see the film out here. So we've been to the United Nations, we've been to the White House, we've been everywhere we could possibly go.
Well, and we were supposed to go back to the UN, but you have to remember, we're self-funded here. We pass a pickle jar at meetings, and the sick people in our community donate what they can so that we can go to DC to meet with elected officials or help send them there. So, I mean, we wanted to get back to the UN, and we just did
haven't
not
been
have the
able to yet.
funds to get there. I mean, it is what it is.
These women up on the stage are the heroes of our community. I get paid to represent and support the health and well-being of my communities. These people do it on their own.
So if you want to know what you can do,
Yes.
What can we do?
right now you can call or email Albert Kelly, who is the senior advisor to EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt, and you can tell him that the people living closest to the Westlake landfill need relocation and excavation. We need the waste gone, and we need the people relocated. And that's a message that he needs to hear every single day, all day long. We have his cell phone number.
If you see me afterwards, I'll give it to you. He said we could.
Yep.
Yes?
Might as well tie it up.
Yeah,
I don't
why
have
don't
my-
you?
I don't have my phone on me.
My phone's out there.
Can you grab it, Todd? Do you have her phone?
Get
The
that phone
second,
out, Todd.
the second thing that you can
Let's
do
do
though.
this. Let's do this.
Uh-huh.
Get your pens out. I got my pen. Go.
Give old Kel a call.
What's his name again?
Albert Kelly.
I work for the EPA.
I was gonna
We'll
say,
talk
yeah.
later.
Well, I want to say,
It wouldn't be the first time that there was a plant in our
Uh-huh.
meetings. I'll just say
the
that.
second thing that you can do while we're doing this though, is you can help promote this film, because here's
Yes.
the thing.
Yep.
This film is scaring the hell out of EPA right now, scaring the hell out of this administration. We've heard it from several people within, EPA has a copy of this film. They did get to see the film. HBO did give them a CD that we handed them, and they're terrified because
Because it's the truth.
it is
And they
the
don't
truth.
know how to spin that.
Right, and
Yeah.
so that is our hope. This film is, you know, it hasn't just gotten, you know, it hasn't just captured what we're going through, but this, we're really hoping will save our community.
You can also go to our Facebook page. It's Westlake Landfill. We have almost 18,400 members now. If you guys could all join that, that would be great. Or you can go to Just Moms STL Facebook page and like us. That would be great too.
Get it?
what's
Okay.
Robert Kelly's number?
Yes.
202-306-8830. Albert Kelly.
Wake
him up.
Exactly right.
You know how many nights I've lost sleep over this issue?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And now he has
My
that
wife
one.
does. My wife's in the audience saying, yes, I do. Yeah,
Yes. 202-306-8830.
And pass it along to your neighbors.
I can also give you his email address too. It's kelly.albert@epa.gov.
If they're open still, that's a whole other story.
I don't know if I know you're wrapping it up, but I just wanted to let everyone know, we begin our theatrical run at Cinema Village this Friday, from this Friday through to the 23rd. These lovely people from St. Louis are all staying in New York for the Friday night 7:10 p.m. screening. So if you want to tell your friends to come out and come to support these people again, meet us all again, 7 p.m. Friday night,
Yeah, we'd love to see you.
and it would be great, because they're all gonna be there, and they're gonna be answering questions, so thank you so much, and thanks to Doc NYC, and I have two more things to say, and that's it. If you like the way the film looked, and how beautiful it was, our colleagues from MPE are here, they did the color correct, it's so beautiful, thank you. And number two, if you like the way the film sounded, Tom Effinger from Red Hook Post is here tonight, and he did a magnificent job, so I'm thankful to both.
Thank you so much to all of you for sharing this amazing story with us. And
We have to say thank you to Rebecca and HBO and everybody that worked on this, because without you, our story wouldn't be out there.
Yes.
So thank you for bringing light to the problem that we're dealing with every day.
Thank you so much.